Bit 16, you've never seen a review like this. Weird old games you cannot tame, these things you don't miss. Snes Man is the champion, he is 16-bit. Snes Man is the champion, he is 16-bit.
Hi, I'm Snes Man, and today's review is X-Men: Mutant Apocalypse. Mutant Apocalypse is the most popular Super Nintendo X-Men game. It was made in 1994 by Capcom, an awesome company that brought us Mega Man and Street Fighter. Alright, here's the first footage of the game. You put it in and you get a little intro text. It's nothing you wouldn't be able to guess about the X-Men. Once it clears, we get a dramatic picture of all the X-Men you can play as in this game. 5 characters is a pretty good selection for a beat-em-up like this. Here's our title screen. Once you get to your menu, you don't have many options. Training mode and password are the only real things. The password doesn't work until a few levels in, and the training mode is really kind of dumb. So let's go mission mode. Let's get down to gaming. We start off with a dramatic intro from Professor X. This is one of those press A and get through the text moments. That's right, keep pressing A. Oh geez, this is tough. Yeah, Sentinels are doing this, Cyclops is doing that, Psylocke here, oh whatever, just press A. Here's our character select. We get some of the coolest mutants from the X-Men series. Let's start with Cyclops. His level begins with the death of some guards, and he strides in his silly blue and yellow suit. Cyclops is really strong. He gets his generic punches and kicks, but also an optic blast that he's famous for. To do the blast, you have to do the same controls as the Fireball Hadouken from Street Fighter. Obviously, this is not always easy to do when you have to do it over and over. His stage is outdoors, so you have to break through things like rocks. Use your optic blast, Cyclops. That'll teach those stupid rocks. The rest of the level is pretty good. The graphics look great, especially the backgrounds. And here's an interesting effect. These flying motorcycles can fly through the background to warn you ahead of time. And now here's this bridge. Who could guess that you would fall off the bridge? All these old games you fall off the bridges. But of course you fall to safety. Splash. Luckily you don't play all the missions as one character. This game gives you 5 characters and 5 paths. Let's talk about the characters. Beast is a crazy beast man who's really smart and really strong. In this game he jumps around and gets hurt a lot. My favorite, Gambit, has a staff and can throw cards with weird kinetic energy. Psylocke is hot but not that strong. Cyclops has powerful laser blasts, but he's kind of awkward. Finally is Wolverine, the most popular of the X-Men. He has really fast slash attacks. The characters all have their own stages that you have to play through. They're all quite different, but some of them can be boring, like this elevator. Cyclops journeys through forests and even streams. Wolverine climbs through a Sentinel factory that makes evil robots. Beast goes through a sewer, groan, but he can climb on the ceilings, which is kinda cool. And finally, Psylocke is in just some generic outdoor stage. You'll notice a few things are really similar with all the levels. Almost all the enemies are the same generic guards. They're really frustrating too. They sneak up on you and can sweep you and kick you when you don't expect it. The bosses get repetitive too. This same robot boss has appeared a couple times in this game and it gets annoying. Here's the same robot over again. This time you can hang off of these poles on the wall. It doesn't make the match any better. There's nowhere to hide and you get attacked from all sides. Also, Capcom has a strange tradition with instant deaths like in the Mega Man games. Goodbye, Wolverine. But what about Psylocke? Surely she won't get shot down and die. Oh. Your characters can die really easy, and each character has their own lives, but once those are out, none of the characters can progress. Another complaint I have is the move system. Like Street Fighter, you have to use button combinations to do special attacks. In a beat-em-up though, it doesn't work when you have to use those attacks over and over. After all, this isn't the only game that's tried to have special moves like that mid-game, and we all remember what happened in Batman Forever when they did that. No, but X-Men was way better than that. Anything's better than that. X-Men's a very standard game. Capcom did a good job with the feel of it and the music is great, but really it still has some pretty obvious flaws. How could it rise above these flaws? Things to make it better. More creative enemies and more creative level designs. The enemies are all the same grunts that rush at you and attack with really cheap hits. passwords for each level instead of every couple levels. A better moveset system than the Street Fighter system. It doesn't work well in beat-em-ups. And finally, less obnoxious bosses that aren't repeated over and over. Despite these obvious flaws, the game's pretty good. The graphics are great, the music is great, and it's a solid beat-em-up game that's pretty fun and easy to understand. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is a pretty good game, and scores a 6 out of 10, above average. So, Mutant Apocalypse is a pretty high-quality game, not bad. You know, it's surprising. You'd think that they'd mess up the X-Men first, on an old system, you know. But wait, they did. We're not done yet, because there's Spider-Man and X-Men in Arcade's Revenge, the crappiest game ever! If you're looking for terrible superhero games, look no further. This is what I had as a little kid. If you notice in the corner of the box, it says LJN, worst game company ever. LJN lives in infamy for horrible games. Most of their games were on the NES, and you hear a lot about them from the angry video game nerd who's really popular over the internet. But what I find strange is that the same year that Mutant Apocalypse came out, LJN was shut down. Coincidence? I think not. LJN was ashamed of their hideous Arcade's Revenge, and they just had to shut down before anyone could say, "Look, here's a good one, here's a bad one. LJN, you made the bad ones." So, what game could be that bad? Let's take a look. In LJN's game, you have to run around as Spider-Man before you can even play as the X-Men. You have to look for these little machines that beep and your spider sense can find them. By spider sense, I mean hideous crackling white noise. The first level takes you through a boring generic stage. The graphics are so bad that they look like they belong in the Stone Age. Once you actually get to play as the X-Men, the game doesn't get any better. It just gets harder and weirder. Cyclops is just a hilarious sight to behold. Look at his punches and his kicks. His kicks barely even reach his hip. Are these guys serious? You know what Cyclops would look like if he did that? Hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Oh, now I have to kick. Oh no, I'm not flexible enough. Can barely lift leg like marionette. He wouldn't be able to beat up a grandma. The Storm character has to swim through impossible mazes. Isn't that fun? Wolverine's stage is the worst. It's a giant clown stage with weird, creepy backgrounds. The stage designs are laughable and the graphics are horrible. All the characters look small and poorly animated. Also, the difficulty is ridiculously high. The stages are all confusing to navigate. Gambit's, for instance, is just a giant mess. Let's compare stages from this game to the Mutant Apocalypse game I just reviewed. Arcade's Revenge, Cyclops. Mutant Apocalypse, Cyclops. Arcade's Revenge, Wolverine. Mutant Apocalypse, Wolverine. Which one was the good one again? You could say Mutant Apocalypse is a little better. No, infinitely better. I'd give Arcade's Revenge a 3 out of 10, and even that's generous. Obviously, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse was way better. The Super Nintendo wasn't very super with heroes. Most superhero games sucked. But here was a good exception. Mutant Apocalypse was a good handling of superheroes, and I'd recommend playing it even if it has some flaws. This has been Snes Man, the 16-bit man. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again sometime soon.